Shi'i scholars from the day of As-Sayyid al-Murtada, or even before, up till the present day, 99% of our scholars, maybe even more than 99%, 99.95% of our scholars, they say that these verses were not revealed about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rather, they were revealed about Uthman ibn Affan, or a man from Bani Umayyah. Now, our narrations, they tell us the following story. And this is in Tafsir al-Qummi, Tafsir Ali ibn Ibrahim al-Qummi. He says that Rasulullah was sitting with a group of his companions. Rasulullah was sitting with a group of his companions. There is no mention of Sanadid Quraysh, the powerful men of Quraysh, no. Rasulullah was sitting with a group of his companions, and among them was Uthman ibn Affan. He was also sitting. And Ibn Maktoum, Abdullah ibn Maktoum, he came in to this session of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ibn Maktoum comes and sits next to whom? Uthman. Uthman, we'll talk about this later. We'll get to this, the personality of Uthman. Uthman, when he saw Ibn Maktoum, who was poor, who was blind, who was from, who was not so fortunate, when he saw Ibn Maktoum came and sat next to him, Uthman frowned and looked away. How could this man, Ibn Maktoum, out of all the places he chooses and comes and sits next to me? Doesn't he know that I'm rich? Doesn't he know that I'm Uthman ibn Affan? I'm from Bani Umayyah. So he frowned and he looked away because a poor man came and sat next to him. And here the verses were brought down. عَبَسَ وَتَوَلَّى أَنْ جَاءَهُ الْأَعْمَى. He frowned and he looked away when the blind man came and sat next to him. وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ لَعَلَّهُ يَزَّكَّى. Oh Uthman, how do you know? What do you know? Perhaps this person will come and benefit from Rasulullah. He will become righteous. He will learn. He will receive a remembrance, and he will benefit from that remembrance. أَمَّا مَنِ اسْتَغْنَى فَأَنْتَ لَهُ تَصَدَّى. As for the rich men, your friends, you give them your attention. Well, when a poor man like Ibn Maktoum comes, you gather your clothing, you gather your clothes as if, as if his poverty you'll pick up his poverty, as if it's like an illness that you're afraid you will catch. So the verses come regarding Uthman ibn Affan. This is according to Tafsir al-Qummi. According to Tafsir Majma' al-Bayan by Shaykh al-Tabrasi, he says that Rasulullah was sitting with a group of people, and a man from Bani Umayyah, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he says a man from Bani Umayyah. He doesn't tell us what his name is, and I will remark on this in a couple of minutes. A man from Bani Umayyah was sitting. Ibn Maktoum comes and sits next to that man from Bani Umayyah. That man from Bani Umayyah, he was disgusted by that poor man, by the blind man. Maybe his clothing wasn't so perfect. And this man from Bani Umayyah, he's rich. So he gathered himself. He gathered his clothing. And he frowned and he looked away. He frowned and he looked away. And then Shaykh al-Tabrasi in Majma' al-Bayan, he tells us more, that when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, when he would see Ibn Maktoum, he would say, "Marhaban, marhaban, la yu'atibani fika rabbi abada." He would welcome him and he would say, "My Lord will never lecture me about you." You see the difference between the two traditions? Between the two narrations? The Sunni narration would say that Rasulullah would tell Ibn Maktoum that what? I welcome the one that Allah lectured me about. In this narration, the Prophet says, my Lord will never lecture me about you. Meaning what? Meaning that if some people assume that I was lectured about you, no, it's not me. لا يعاتبني فيك ربي. My Lord will not scold me or lecture me because of you. Now, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam in this narration, he says, رَجُلٌ مِّن بَنِي أُمَيَّةٍ. Someone from Bani Umayyah. He doesn't say who. Most likely it's whom? It's whom? Uthman ibn Affan. Uthman ibn Affan is from Bani Umayyah. But why doesn't Imam Sadiq mention his name? Out of taqiyya. Out of taqiyya, Imam Sadiq, because we know that in some majalis, in some gatherings, Imam Sadiq, in the gatherings of Imam Sadiq, there were spies in the gatherings of Imam Sadiq. And this was at the time that Bani Umayyah, they were in power. So if Imam Sadiq were to bring the name of Uthman ibn Affan, who was very revered by Bani Umayyah, and there are spies in his gatherings, this would put him in trouble. Thus, most likely, I presume, this is my own personal analysis, that Rajulun min Bani Umayyah most likely is Uthman ibn Affan. And the Imam is practicing taqiyya. You see the difference?